Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Wide Shoes. It's good to be back. I know I've been gone for a little bit of time now. I am in a new studio setup, so let me know what you want to do with this green screen behind me. Down in the comments below, just let me know. Should we do something silly? Should we go back to the classic black background that everybody liked? Should I put my logo up there? Just give me any ideas, and yeah, let's just get right into the review. All right, you guys already know we're going to be reviewing the $120 Jaw 2s from Nike. Starting with my most favorite part of the shoe, it's definitely going to be the traction. I'm going to give the traction a 9.7 out of 10. Now, I know a lot of people might be skeptical. I believe this is tied for or the highest traction ranking I've ever given. And I want to be very specific here. This traction pattern works on every floor, whether it be outdoor, indoor, dusty, clean, tactile, tennis, like any court I played on. The bite was so consistent. The dust collection was so minimal. I've just never had a shoe where the traction pattern works on anything. I mean, you could play on these in like a pool and still make cuts in the pool somehow. So overall, I think that 9.7 comes from the fact that these shoes are durable and they're extremely versatile. I want to also say that the pattern on these shoes is this suction cup or pebble like pattern. And from my opinion, playing in these, it feels like these kind of work by grabbing the floor or expanding on the floor. So as you play in these and the bottom of the shoe kind of heats up, you will get better performance even more. So what you should know is that if you're playing in a game and you have any issues, which I never did, but if you somehow have any issues, it's very likely that the rubber pattern just needs to heat up a little. But yeah, overall, this is just the most consistent and versatile traction I've ever used ever. So that's just a crazy start to this review. All right, so moving into my second favorite part of the shoe, it's going to be the fit. Now, I just want to say Nike has changed their sizing since the Jaw 1s came out. So back when the Jaw 1s came out, I was wearing a 10.5 in all Nikes, and now their shoes have gotten a little bit smaller. So whatever size you got in the Jaw 1s, I would recommend going half a size up, or whatever you're currently wearing now. So what that means is in the last 5 Nike shoes that I've gotten a size 11 and they fit perfectly. With these, I got a size 11 and they fit perfectly. So even if you're a wide footer, just go true to size in your most recent Nike sizing, because again, in that period when the Jaw 1s came out around the Luka 2 time period, the sizing has changed with all shoes. So if someone says go up half a size in the Jaw 2, they're meaning from your Jaw 1 pair. So again, just go true to size. Even if you're wide footer, go true to size. And overall, why I like the fit so much in this shoe is because the shoe does run a tiny bit short, but the toe box is very wide and the midfoot is just a little bit wide. So overall, the shoe fits very comfortably. And if you had to half a size up, even though you took my advice, you could do that comfortably. Like, this shoe's going to fit a wide range of feet. I think it's a very safe option. There's a pretty decent arch support in the shoe as well. And for me, I found that these fit me very one-to-one, very, very well. Like, there's no discomfort. There's no pinching. The shoe's very wide footer friendly. No dead space, no heel slippage, nothing. The fit is just like, this is the perfect fit on my feet. And if all my shoes fit like this, I would have zero complaints. So I love the fit for wide footers and for anyone really. All right, moving into my third most favorite part of the shoe, it's going to be the lockdown and the stability, which I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. Essentially, the lockdown, the court feel, the lacing system, and how the shoe molds to your feet over time is just really, really a standout in the shoe. In a really reductive way, the best thing I can explain is this is a stiffer, more supportive, and more rigid Sabrina 2. And moving away from just classifying it as a better Sabrina 2, I would say that the shoe's outrigger is phenomenal, and that double thick heel counter prevents any type of heel slippage, which has been a problem in Nike shoes for the last few years. And I was really afraid of that heel counter because I saw that in the LeBrons, which is not a great ankle support or stable shoe, but that's just not the case for the Jaw 2s. Basically, the Jaw 2s, the lockdown, you can crank the laces, the heel counter prevents any heel slippage. There's a thick tongue at the top, which feels great when you lock it down. Like, overall, it just, like, this shoe is so good, like in so many ways. And the stability and lockdown, how the shoe kind of molds your feet over time, just like, I don't have any words to describe how good it is. Like, this is how a basketball shoe should feel when you lace it. Like, you just feel seated in there, and the heel to toe transition is also really smooth in these shoes. So it just kind of creates this feeling that is reminiscent of like a Kobe 5, Kobe 6. Like, it's just like this shoe is so good for what it can do. And that's all I have to say for lockdown and stability. All right, moving into my basically everything on this shoe I like. There's going to be no weaknesses, but moving into my next favorite part, it's going to be the cushioning. Now, this will be controversial. I'm going to give the cushioning an 8.5 out of 10. And while what I will say is, yes, the cushioning setup is minimalist, but as I mentioned briefly earlier, the heel to toe transition in this shoe is so smooth that the minimalist nature of the cushioning system kind of goes away. Like, you just have such a good lockdown and stable and smooth ride in these shoes that it kind of makes up for that lack in thickness or plushness that you would assume would make a great cushion shoe. Additionally, it is said that Nike has used full Cushlon in this shoe. Some hoopers are saying that it's EVA. All I can really say is that the shoe feels a little bit bouncy. It's very responsive. You get a very low court feel. And I will note that the horizontal zoom unit in the forefoot has an extraordinarily high PSI. It feels really, really, really like you are just like pressing in on this piece. If it's an okay feeling, but as you break it in, it really kind of unlocks that zoom unit, and then it feels good. So you do have to break in the shoe, and the cushioning, I'm being a little bit generous, giving it an 8.5 out of 10. But for me, as someone who's had both hips replaced, I have a broken foot too. I've had surgery on my right shoulder. Like, I'm very injury prone. My weight, I'm 180 pounds now, but I've been as heavy as 230. Like, I'm usually someone who advocates for a maximalist shoe, and I was able to wear these and play in these all day and not have any hip pain, knee pain. Like, these shoes just worked really well with what they had in them. So overall, the cushioning, it just magically, somehow Nike has made it work, and they've shown that even with budget materials, they're making it work. So I'm going to give it a good score in cushioning, even though there's just not a lot of tech in the shoe. All right, moving into the last, I guess, section of the review, we're going to talk about the materials. Now, I'm going to be somewhat generous. I'm giving the materials an 8 out of 10. Basically, it's just a simple textile weave with textile meshing. But what I will say is, on the periphery of the shoe or the outside of the shoe, there is this interesting like plastic TPU covering that really works to mold to your foot and adds to that stability and adds to that lockdown that I mentioned earlier. Also, the tongue in the top is the only padded section, but it does work and it is effective. And the tongue is also gusseted, and the top loaded shank works really, really well. And in the midsole of the shoe, like, there is no bending. I know a lot of reviewers have been doing this like bend test. I hate when my shoes are too flexible, but I also hate when my shoes are clunky. So for me to have a shoe that works in the way that this does, where it's very responsive and there's a bit of a springboard effect, and I get good court feel, and the shoe is good heel to toe transition, so it's not clunky. It's like everything is just working really well. Basically, what I'm saying is, yeah, the materials are a bit cheap, but they work so well and they're so effective. Also, the shoe is breathable. Like, overall, everything in terms of the material is really good, with the exception of the midsole they use. So the midsole is not glued in. Even after wearing the shoe for many, many months, that midsole could not slip while I played, but the midsole wasn't, the glues melt in the shoe and it keeps the midsole in the shoe. That didn't happen with my midsoles. And I would take out the midsoles and kind of have to flatten them out and then put them back in the shoe. So maybe getting, a midsole from another company in these shoes would help the shoe out a bit, but I'm going to just be grading the shoe on what's offered. I'm not going to tell you to buy other parts. So overall, materials used, like I said, 8 out of 10. They work. It's been durable. I've been playing in this 4 times, maybe 3 times a week for many, many months. It's been my main shoe and I really like it. All right, moving into the most important part of this review, it's going to be the overall. I'm going to give this shoe, I don't want to be so generous, but I'm going to give this shoe a 97 out of 100. This might be one of my favorite shoes I've ever reviewed. And I didn't think of the Jaw ones as anything special. I think these shoes are significantly different than the Jaw ones. And I think if you're only able to get one shoe, this shoe is phenomenal in terms of performance. And it's $120. I'm not going to necessarily say it's a budget shoe, but it is on the cheaper side and it is durable. I think also you should always lift weights in weightlifting shoes, but I think you could actually lift weights in these. So if you're a younger player who's lifting weights, playing basketball, maybe wearing a pair of shoes to school, these shoes kind of have you covered. Back when I was in person for college, I definitely would have just worn these to class and then brought them on the court. Like, These shoes are just able to do anything and everything, and there's not really any supreme weakness besides the fact that they could have maybe used a little bit better material, put a little bit more tech in the shoe. But Nike has really proved themselves with putting almost nothing in the shoe and making it work. So overall, this shoe's definitely going to be on the top of the year shoe list, and I'm very, very comfortable recommending you this shoe. Like the Ja 2 is just phenomenal. Sorry if I repeated myself in this review. I'm getting back into reviewing. I really appreciate all the likes, the comments, the subscriptions, everything. Like, it means a lot to get a lot of support on this channel, and I'll see you guys in the next review. In the meantime, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I read them all. And thank you guys so much for trusting me with your shoe reviews. See you in the next one.